Hey guys, it's great to be back. Today we're going to be talking about Independent Study, which is the second installment of the Testing series by Joelle Charbonneau. So if you haven't read the Testing yet, I highly advise that you press pause and come back once you've read the book. That way, nothing is spoiled for you. Sia Vale has passed her testing and has moved on to study at the university. The issue is, just like her father, she can't remember anything about her testing. Luckily for her, she remembered, before her memory was erased, to record a little bit about what had happened during her testing on the transit communicator. However, she doesn't know whether or not she can trust her own voice. Was this another test? Or were the horrible things she was hearing true? On top of all of that, Sia was chosen to study government studies, something she never wanted to do. Hi, I'm Sarah Cater, and you're watching Aliens, Clones, and Airships. Okay guys, I have so much to say about the second installment, but first I'll start with the spoiler-free section. That way anyone who hasn't read the book yet has a chance to hear a little bit about it and then come back once they finished reading. Once again, I was not disappointed with Sia's character. The way she reacts, applies critical thinking, and emotes is extremely realistic. She proves once again that she is determined to pass her tests. This time she faces new challenges as students from Tosu City join the university as well. Tosu City students didn't have to go through the testing the way that the colony students did, but everyone has to go through university testing to go to a higher level of education. Not knowing how the other candidates at the university reacted to the testing, she's not sure who she can trust. Is she fit to be at the university? And can she survive her induction? Old alliances will be questioned, new challenges will arise. Once again, I recommend this book and its former to anyone who loves the dystopian genre and the Divergent and Hunger Games books. It is a fabulous series and I've really enjoyed it so far, and I hope that you do as well, especially if you are a big fan of, worlds that are falling apart and building back up from the ashes. Like I am. I'm kind of obsessed. Now, if you haven't read Independent Study, I highly recommend that you press pause and come back later, because I'm about to start my spoiler rants. So hopefully if you're watching this, you don't care about spoilers or you have already read the book. This installment was an excellent companion to its former. It was quite an interesting dynamic to see that after Sia had lost her memory, she formed new alliances with people that she formerly could not trust. However, when she listens to her transit communicator, she learns more about her fellow classmates than she ever wanted to know. And she also doesn't know whether or not she can trust her own voice. Were the words on the communicator true? How could she believe that her own classmates were capable of killing? She couldn't believe that Tomas, the one person she cared most about, had killed her friend. Sia quickly learns that she cannot trust anyone at the university, and that there is a new rebel alliance forming that wants to end the testing, once and for all. When I started this series, I was really worried that the former year student, Ian, was going to become Sia's new love interest, especially as she had to separate away from Tomas for her studies. I was worried about that because I am not a big fan of love triangles in stories. I think it takes away from the entire plot and there's no need for it, honestly. But I'm really glad that that never happened. Whether or not Ian is a trustworthy person is still up for grabs with this book. I guess we'll have to find out in the third installment. Along with Sia, I have a very hard time figuring out who is trustworthy and who is not, and I guess that's the whole point of the story, to make everyone seem just as guilty as the next. I've realized reading the series that I myself would not have passed the testing, especially since calculus is involved. The inductions, I must admit, were not as exciting to me as the events that transpired in the first book. But it was really nice to see Sia remaining true to her beliefs and to the colony she came from. I really liked seeing Will's mirroring in this book between some of the actions he had taken in the first book and then seeing, with his memory being erased, how he reacted to similar situations in this book. It was also really good to see that Sia was remembering that Will is not a trustworthy person. As for the candidate who lost his life during the inductions, it was quite sad to find out about how he had died, but at the same time, it was crucial to pushing the plot forward and showing that, yes, Sia, what you heard on the communicator was true, and this is how it was, and this is how it's going to continue to be. I also really liked that Sia became the intern for the president of the Commonwealth, and that it happened because of the way she handled the challenges during her induction. As with the first book, I'm still not a fan of the way that Sia is so attached to Tomas, though he's meant to be her support system. I think it comes across as a bit too emotionally dependent rather than being in love. I also don't like that I still don't know whether or not he can be trusted. I feel like we're all just waiting for the ultimate betrayal by Tomas, but I guess we'll have to see what happens in the third installment, whether or not he can or cannot be trusted. I think the most shocking part of this entire book was Simon's betrayal. Honestly, at points it feels like I'm watching the TV show Scream, because everyone seems guilty and you can't trust a single person. We recognize that this was the turning point for Sia. Before, she was fully willing to allow the rebels to take over and stop the testing on their own. But now, she's being put to the test. Now Sia's becoming the leader that the Commonwealth always knew she could be. I think my heart lurched a little bit when I found out that Zine, Sia's brother, was part of the Rebel Alliance. Now, not only does Sia have to worry about her own life, the life of the person she loves, and the lives of her friends, but she also has to include the life of her brother as she wonders what she's supposed to do next. How would you do during the testing? Who would you trust? And what do you see happening next? Alright guys, so I'll see you next time on Aliens, Clones, and Airships, and we will be talking about Graduation Day, the third installment of the Testing series by Joelle Charbonneau. I'm very excited. I've just started reading it, and I will give you my review as soon as I finish.